Well, chat, I have some good news and I have some bad news. Which do you want first? Which would you prefer first, honestly? She's here. She's here. Where? I'm purposely leaving it on this screen right now for shits and giggles. Wait, no, the song? I know, I'm sorry. I know this is a good song, okay? Okay, where Marin? There, Marin. Where, Marin? Everyone hide scattered. No! No! Oh my goodness. By the power of old school, I cast PC crash. No! But why, Marin? Yeah, where Marin? There, Marin. But nobody ever asks why, Marin. Why, Marin? I do apologize, guys. You will hear me sniffle a fucking lot because I am basically over being sick, but I still have like all the phlegm and all the nonsense. How, Marin? I've been sick since last Friday. It's been almost a whole goddamn week since I've been here. But do we want to, why, Marin? But I feel like I need that, but I need it as like me pondering like a skull, like it's to be or not to be moment, but it's why, Marin? Give me the mid, okay, dude, so it doesn't hit as hard. Hi, Hapu. How are you doing? Hope you're feeling better. I'm feeling a lot better. Here, you know what? We'll just go ahead and give you all the meat and potatoes of why you're here. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Sebby! Sebby! All right, we'll go ahead and swing over. There's not, again, guys, this is going to be very fucking casual. So we're just going to swing over and I'm going to give you the meat and potatoes of today. Hi, chat. How are you doing? Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. I'm still very new at using this model, so it's very weird. It requires a lot of like resetting right now because it drifts a lot. So like you'll see me do things like that where I like straighten up very suddenly. Have you been playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure? Wait, did I miss it? Did I miss it? The thing too is I think I need to figure out the eye parameters because very much if I look to the monitor, like if I look at OBS, I'm looking at OBS right now with pretty much just my eyes and my entire pupil is gone. It's all gone. Jesus. Jesus, help. Jesus, help. Oh my God, what's happening? Ah!
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
She's moving. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, damn it. Ready for some Nightmare Cart action? Listen, I have Nightmare Cart. I've never played it. And I just found out it's created by a trans woman, so that's interesting.
Shrieking skull will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
Oh my goodness. Did y'all get it out of your systems? Did you get it out of your systems? Are you satisfied? Are you happy? Hold on, let me see if I can actually make this so I can look at OBS. If I look over here and I do a reset, can I? Okay, that's a little better. I'm looking at y'all and now it's like recentered.
Yep, that's me.
Oh my God, y'all are still going.
How I ended up.
Oh my God, y'all are still going. Why are you like this? Why are you like this? Why do you do this to me? Overstimulation, go. Oh my God, we just started and I just got off being sick. Are y'all trying to give me a headache? Ooh, good song. Is that a tier 2 iron? Jesus Christ, man. Thank you so much for the tier 2 and for apparently commissioning a really expensive piece of art that's in the Discord. A non-Kate extreme, they'd be very wrong. Yes, the like bully and the like let me have it and throw, as well as honk, are all currently turned off because I'm not running the program. Because I know the program I'm currently using has its own throw program. I did not set it up. And I didn't want to have y'all like trying to spend points on something that wasn't going to do anything. Loving the jacket. Oh, it's okay. We can also, we can do this. We can also take it away. It's also, this model is technically rigged in a way where I can do full body tracking with it. It's just, I don't have anything to do it with. Although this program does have like camera hand tracking, if you have like a secondary camera. I tried using it. It's really janky and does not work well, so I did not bother with it. We're also missing something. I'm sure y'all have noticed that we're missing possibly some of y'all's favorite features. It's because I took them away because I thought it was hilarious to do so. So, I mean, like, there we go. There we go. Where the throne? What do you mean throne? I'm a hugged at Mowen. No! You can't take me. We can also do this. So if chat misbehaves, we can minimize, or we can just... They're gone. They're gone, chat. Gone like the wind. Well, thank you, Hapu. I put a lot of work and like references into it to get like an image that I wanted. And then the artist who made it really knocked it out of the park. We were originally actually supposed to drop it January 2nd. But due to a bunch of delays and stuff, which it wasn't my fault. It was the artist had to take some time off because they got forced to move. Gone like the wind. Chat, would you hate me if I told you that there's a bigger version? Anyway. I hope you liked it. Glad it worked out so it released today. Hell yeah. Someone get Kono? Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about happy Kono noises. You're a Mega Man Legends character? Yeah. I'm low poly so that we can go play some retro games and still be within theme. Also, hi, Ash. How are you doing? Hi, Fairbanks. Who did this model? This is Voxid. Voxid did this model. He does a lot of low poly models. He primarily does low poly models. The poop concert lit. Kono calls for aid. This was originally a VR chat model. This thing has been available for use on VR chat for several months. Several months. And I was like, well, just be a little bit extra to rig it up for VTubing, so why the fuck not? Plus, it'd be a good little, like, in-between, because I've been tired of waiting on debuting 2.0 fully. So, we're doing this. We're starting Retro Circus early, which is like what I was saying today. Today is both the launch of Retro Circus, which will be playing retro horror games, or retro-like horror games, because today we're actually going to do Signalis. We're going to start playing Signalis, finally. Gives me the Gmod Ragnar. You could technically do that. There is like a setup. Yes, the sad cyborgs lesbians. Android? Are they cyborg or are they androids? It's not crazy expressive, as including like the mouth tracking. It's mostly lip sync. It's mostly picks up on what I'm saying. And you will occasionally see flashes of some of the expressions. That's because it's actually set up to track certain facial movements to do certain expressions. So like if I look really sad, that's it. It flicks on. It flicks on and it flicks off because it loses and gains tracking. Fits perfect into Ultra Kill. I can see that. So hold on a second. Is my chair not all the way up? No, it is. Okay, we're good. We're good. I love my sad space android lesbians. Listen, so there's quite a bit to this model, which... Oh, thank you for the hype train, guys. Holy shit. Holy shit! Especially because I was gone all week. We had a big dip in thingamadoohickeys and thingamajigs and doodads. The belt buckle slaps? Hell yeah, it does. Look at that. Look at that. It's the same symbol that's on the, let me see if I remember how to do. Yeah, it's on the back of the jacket. All right, chat, y'all are looking at the jacket, right? Everybody's focused on the jacket. I can see you back there. I can see you back there.
Enjoy the show.
Respectfully, okay. Okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Y'all are behaving, right? Absolute bigger. 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 No. No. Fucking sigh. You're looking at the jacket, right? No. Oh, hold on. Let me do the, where's the, let's take it. We're going to take it over here and just, why is everybody so mean to me? Okay. The thing too is the controls for this thing is very weird. It's very unusual in terms of like how controls work. That'll have to do. That'll have to do. Unless y'all want to see boots. We can always break out the boots. Here, we'll do boots real quick. Boots. Yeah. Heels for days, baby. Hup. 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 Anyway, boots with, oh, Jesus. I forgot how sensitive the camera movements are in this thing. Can it run Doom? No. Fashion. I really want to get full body tracking because I think following probably like the summer outfit for 2.0, I probably will not be sticking with Live 2D just because it's getting so fucking expensive. Also, we can show some of the expressions and stuff. I mean, there's always the neutral. There's big evil smile. Hi, chat. There's just bigger, smugger smile. Get that smug look off your face. But what he didn't know is I had a slightly smugger look under my face. Question, which I fucking love this one. This one is honestly my favorite expression because this is the face I make at y'all constantly that my tracking could not do. We're switching to PowerPoint. No, not PowerPoint. Not PowerPoint. Sad. Because chat's always so mean to me. Chat bullies me so much. So cruel. Gotta get a loan to commission models nowadays. Yeah. Or have a mysterious benefactor. Thank you, mysterious benefactor, again. And of course, scared. Chat, what did you do? What did you do? I want to make some cookies this weekend. That's the thing too. The reason I ran the long like intro was because everybody else in the house is leaving for the weekend. They were still packing up and getting ready to leave. So I was like, let's wait it out. We can push it a little bit. PowerPoint, we summoned Motley Faye. No, she was already here. Sharp. I could poke out an eye with these things. Put a fork in the microwave. In the microwave? That's what I did. Microwave. Thank you, Annie. Thank you for the, oh my God, 115 stream streak. Kono's here. All right, put them away. They're gone. Cookies, I support the baking. Yeah, I want to bake some cookies this weekend. Is it a good idea to microwave this? Well, no one wants roasted nuts. Goodness, sorry. What kind of cookies? Probably just make some chocolate chip or peanut butter. I love peanut butter cookies. Absolutely, yeah, you kind of did. You did miss some things because like there's regular, there's small, big, small. None. Back to none. Stop Kona's gonna blurb. Ugh. Gross. Not on the wallpaper. Wait, peanut butter chocolate chip? That could work. I could get some of those like peanut butter chips. Oh, please, Kono. Oh, please. Oh my God. But yeah, like today's not going to be crazy special. New model, shenanigans, whip it around, throw my head around, rock it out. Oh, that's great. New merch. We'll probably look at that shortly. If you haven't checked it out, the new merch command has been updated. I made a post earlier where you can see just about everything that's available. Well, great model, Giraffe. Thank you. Oh. Well, I guess I'm going to put that towards full body tracking. I guess that's going to go towards full body tracking for this model. Because like right now for the full 2.0 release, really all we're doing is waiting. I'm waiting on the fucking alert artist. Well, that sounds mean. I'm not actually upset at them. I'm waiting on the alert artist to finish the alerts, and then we will be good to go. And then we'll be good to go. And then we can do full 2.0 launch, and we can stop looking at the old 1.0 models. And then I can start setting friends' PCs on fire with 2.0. It'll be fine. It will be fine. I'm sure. It'll come when it comes. Got to be hyped for it. It'll probably be the end of this month. It'll probably be the end of this month. That's probably going to be the plan. Because he apparently gave himself a deadline, which is like, he's basically said that like, regardless if I get this done, you have waited so long, I'm not going to charge you for it. And I was like, okay. I'm still going to pay you what we talked about, but okay. It'll come when it comes. Going to be hyped. Yeah. Set the world on fire with the new model. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hi, Hanetu. Hi, Hanetu. My wife. My other wife. My cat wife. My perp wife. My green wife. The occasional wife in capitalism. Honey too. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, not the honey too. I cast a generic fire spell. What is a generic fire spell? I like that I can hop around too. This is fun. This is fun. I can't wait to be able to actually like walk on stream and stuff because I really want to get the full body tracking for this so that I could do like the over exaggerated hand things that I always do when I'm sitting here talking about stuff with y'all. Fire, the weaker form of Fyra and Fyraga. God damn it. God damn it. No Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts references. Also, hold on a second. I need to mute for a second. Sorry, I had to do a heavy sniffle. More ode to joy. Oh my goodness. I cast Fyraga Storm. I don't think it works like that. I don't think it works like that. Also, if you hear Coco barking, it's because the door is currently open because it's a very nice day here. So the door is currently open, so she will come and go. And if she is in the backyard barking at something, it'll be probably very loud. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry again if I keep having to like mute and you get like these weird silences. It's because I'm having to do like these deep sniffles because I'm still like getting over being sick. It was smart of me to end stream Friday nights when we did, because shortly after stream, my entire throat just turned into like fucking glass. It very quickly just descended into Belly, thank you for the follow. Welcome and enjoy the show. Oh, why am I twitching so much? Hello? Hello? Interesting. Schneefel, schneefel, schneefel. Yes, exactly. But who wants to look at some... Oh, wait. That's Mel. All right. Who wants to look at the merch? Do we want to look at the merch? Wait, I just realized I didn't do something. I set up 2 cameras and I was dumb and I didn't set up a position for like I set up 2 cameras. I set up a gaming spot on the other side because I figured this would be easier since I usually look at the right screen. And then there's the chatting spot. And so I didn't set up one for the other stuff. I fucked up. Shit. We'll do it this way. Fuck it, we do it live. We do it live in this household. Okay? It's fine. The fucking points. Amazing. All right. I almost just tried to push it out of habit. I'm not gonna lie. I think I need to be bigger. Hello? There we go. And then let's do a little more rotation back. Little more rotation back, please and thank you. Pretty please, pretty please. And then let me get this open for y'all really quick. And we can go look at the cool snazzy stuff. Cool snazzy stuff. Yeah, I love that the merry-go-round is still there. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, it's not on. There we go. He still has the merry-go-round. I like that. I like that a lot. But we have new merch. Wait, this isn't everything. Where's everything else? 1, 2, 3. Where's the sweatpants? Mel? Where are the sweatpants? The wives already said they wanted to wear their tracksuit out for a jog. What happened to the sweatpants? Can I refresh it? Interesting. This was also what was here as like a placeholder. So I wonder if maybe it's on your screen. Why isn't it on mine? Interesting. Goodness. Okay. Very interesting. Thwarted by tracksuit plans. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Apparently it's on Hapu's, so I'm guessing it'll be on other people's. But yeah. I absolutely love the art for this fucking thing because originally my idea was like, let's do like a retro carnival poster with like maybe either like the carnival in the background or underneath it, blah, 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 blah. And the artist absolutely fucking nailed it. Well, you know what's going to be even worse? Also, I did let them name it, so I did not do the naming conventions for this. But there it is. See you, Nanda. This is the embarrassing part that I never got to meet the artist. So now we snoop. Now we snoop. Hold on, chat. Hold on, chat. You're gonna snoop with me, okay? See you, Nanda. There we go. Hold on, I gotta double check. I gotta make sure they're not doing, there's not any, like, not safe for work and stuff. Ooh. It looks like they do a lot of character art. They do, there's a lot of persona in here. Here. I'm not gonna click most of these, but, like, there's Goku, Yakuza characters. Neat. Neat. Is that the Maringo low poly? Yes. Yes, it is, Ren. I have thrown out many of my angles. The fatal mistake of mentioning persona. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. I will finish Persona someday. Someday we will finish Persona. It's fine. Just before Sunstar loses his mind. But yeah, this was the artist. Dandy. I think they did a wonderful job. Like, look at that. That looks fucking sick. I love it. I love it. We did it intentionally low details so that it felt like it like flowed much better and kind of gave off the look of a retro carnival poster. The pants went poof? Interesting. Wonder why. I wonder why. Either way, I'm gonna be getting my own pretty shortly. Maybe, well, there was just that donation from Jarathi. Maybe tonight I go get my own little shingadings. What you smiling at, goofball? What you smiling at? Be like, no pants for anybody? Nobody got pants. Nobody's got pants. We don't wear pants in this household, as you know. Here, let's just... This is totally fine. Oh, that's the wrong button. Mind your business, chat. You're looking at the jacket. You better be looking at the jacket and my sick as fuck undercut. Right? Jacket and undercut. Jacket and undercut. Anyway. Meow. It's very fun just to wee. It's Very weird. It's very unusual after being 2D this entire time. You just turn on the arm sway so your arms are less stiff. I turned them on, but they got like really weird looking. I had it on at one point, but let me see. Arm sway. Oh, that was weird. But yeah, now they do like these little flappy things, and I don't like the flappy thing. I don't like the flappy thing that much. Thing is, though, is I hope to have full arm tracking fairly soon, TM. Soon, TM. Oh! This is what it does when I adjust the settings. This is funny. This is really funny. Yeah. That's a little better. That's a little better. I don't have any breathing on because I don't breathe. Literally offered to help with that. Well, I thought I had it all figured out. Okay. I didn't think about the arm sway. You undead bitch. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe I am. Breathing's for nerds. Nerd. Listen, hey, I haven't had a 3D model before, okay? Of course I was gonna fuck this up. Of course I was gonna blow it. What did you expect from me? I don't know, shit. Anyway, we're going back. We're going back. Hi. How are you doing? I was to ask for help, woman. Well, I don't know. Listen, I can't ask for help when I don't know I haven't fucked up yet. Baron, I don't have full tracking. The model, you think Baron knows yet? Wait, what do you mean? Why are you keeping secrets from me? Oh my goodness. The facial expressions too are really funny whenever they like trigger on occasion. Because there's some of them that don't trigger through facial expressions. Like I can do the sad ones super easily. Just roll my lip down. But like, there's also the thing with, oh, what was it? Can't fuck up if nobody knows what you're doing. True. See, there's the fear one. If I raise my eyebrows high enough, I can get the fear one, but it's not like consistent. But yeah, it's hard to hold some of them when you use that feature, but it's kind of neat, so I like having it. I'm grabbing you later and we're going through settings together. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say, 3D senpai. I hated saying that. Please shoot me. Oh, wait, I took away your ability to shoot me. Shit! Interesting. Hold on a second. I gotta sniffle again. Stocks, no! Oh god, HR is here. Everybody act natural. Everybody act natural. Okay, back normal. Okay. Hi HR. We're fine. We're not actually. This is probably against HR. We're going back to this. Hi HR. We're totally not generic grade message here. Okay. That's welcome in Raiders. Act natural chat. Did we just I think we have to act natural. I think we have to do what we usually do. I'm sorry if I sound off, guys. I am a little bit sick, but let's go ahead and do our usual shebang. For those of you from Socks HR who doesn't know me, my name is Mar and I'm the ringleader of the Dark Carnival. I typically play games that are dark, spooky, terrifying, or just whatever my little inclinations like to get into. Today is the launch of Retro Circus, aka our little start in our adventure down retro horror games. I am a terrible horror streamer. I have not played retro games like Resident Evil, like classic Resident Evil, not like the remakes or anything. Clock Tower. What are some other ones? I have a big list. I just don't have it in front of me.
Enjoy the show.
Also, Slicely, Opulent, Aaron, Munchkin, Zerkiel, Angry Demon Noises, and Big Gender. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Enjoy the show. You know what? I'll just give you back what you are more likely to expect from the stream. I am also very new to 3D models, so this is going to be very, very scuffed. That is your warning. Big gender. Yes, big gender. Very big gender. Big gender in the house. Listen, it's fine. It's fine. Raid from one sick streamer to another. Oh my god, I've been sick since last Friday was when it like scaled up to the worst. Saturday was the worst day. Saturday night, or well, technically Friday night, Saturday morning was the worst. And Saturday was the worst day out of everything. And then it's gotten better since then, but I still have like phlegm and stuff, so I have to like mute. I try to mute so that I don't like sniffle into everybody's ears. But I will probably forget at times when I think I can try to get away with it, even though the mic is right in fucking front of me. But thank you so much for the raid, HR Jan. How are you doing? How was your stream? Did you have a good time? Also, hold on, I have to sniffle. Oh, we're also launching new merch today, which I did make a new merch command. So we can actually pin that for today. Oh, no, wait, we can't pin it. I have to do it this way. I have to do it the annoying way, which is fucking copying it because that's an announcement / pin paste. Yoink! There we go. Easy peasy, baby. Easy peasy. ASAP, I feel you. I got the Bagfest flu. Killed me. Yeah, I didn't go anywhere. So to this day, I still don't know if I got it like at the gym or just being out and about around town. But God, there's one lady I blame. I believe this is Friday morning. This is Friday morning before stream. I went to the gym. I go to the gym typically 4 days a week. And there was a lady on the treadmill while I was doing my cardio warm up. And she's just like slow stride walking on the treadmill. But she's coughing. She's having like a coughing fit at the same time, but she does nothing. Her arms don't break stride, and she just tilts back and just goes just straight into the air the entire time I'm doing my warm up. The entire time.
Enjoy the show.
The Real Sugar Joe, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Enjoy the show. Yeah, I blame her. It probably wasn't her because I got sick way too fast for it to be her. But I blame her. Did you forget your polygons back at home? I left them in a basket by the back door. Don't go to the gym if sick. Hey, listen, people in my community know it's Texas. It's Texas. Yeah, they are. Hi, Rin. The thing was, that's what I'm saying though, she wasn't breaking stride. Her arms were just down by her side, walking pace, not even attempting to cover her mouth. Hi, Steez. No way, those are only one polygon. Hey, watch those pointy bits. Bailiff, arrest that lady. God, I was so tempted to walk past her after I got off the treadmill and just intentionally stare her down as I walk past and go, cover your fucking mouth. I was so tempted. I was so tempted. Had triangles for boobs. Yep. Yep. It's fine. It's fine. I'm still thinking of the pointy bits animation where he like takes damage for trying to poke Tifa's chest. Tifa's chest. But wait, what? Flatten that lady's nipples? That is a way to put it. That is a way to put it. Now, unfortunately, this model isn't crazy expressive. In the general case, that's because it's low poly. So, like, I do have expressions in the case of, like, big smile. Normal smile. Question. Chat, what did you do? What the fuck did you do? Explain. Of course, sad. Because chat's mean to me. Chat's mean to me. And I'm scared. What kind of horror streamer would I be without having a scared expression? What didn't we do? That is a very good point. That is a very, very good point. What didn't we do? Chat, what did you do? Threw subs at you? Aw. Aww. Aww. Oh, yeah, we are. Wait, we're already up to 19? This week? 19? Wait, that doesn't seem right. Hold on. Did I miss something? Kono resubbed. Faust. Did I miss something? What went on during the like pre-roll? Because I actually wasn't at my PC during the pre-roll. So now I feel like I have to check this. 19? Is 19 right? 19 since like Sunday, I think is technically when it's, or Monday. I think it resets Monday. And before someone threw offline subs, that's probably what it was. Honestly, that's probably what it was. It was probably people's subs auto-renewing off stream. That's almost certainly what it was. Ah! And then there's Rin. And then there's Rin. Interesting. It lags during alerts. Yeah, I'm going to check and see what was going on last time I streamed. Seluxive, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Oh, Silex. Okay. It was all one size. Okay, it was Silex 14. Gotcha. On screen, it was all one font size, so I couldn't tell that they were Roman numerals. Was that Max Miller talking about hard tag? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. The hard tag redeem is literally a scene of, so like when he mentions hard tag in all of his videos, it cuts to the hard tag episode where he knocks them together. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. So I took it. And I made it a redeem. Well, thank you, Ginger. Well, thank you. But I don't think I have much else to talk about. We have the news. We have all the new shit. And that's generally it. Do we go about our usual shenanigans now, checking to see what's on the news? Or do the worst thing imaginable and see what Grums has been bitching about? Aww. Hold on a second. That's a nice boat. I've made the eggnog recipe he made in the video. Ooh. Time for the flop. This is VTuber TCG. Oh. God, I still need to make that video, but I feel like I want to make a video on it. I did actually see somebody put it in the Discord last night, I think, of a Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTuber who typically does like Yu-Gi-Oh! TCGs and stuff, talking about it. And he talked about the same stuff that I talked about last week. And I'm still very tempted to make a video on it because I am very disappointed with V-Card. Very, very disappointed with V-Card. They seriously dropped the ball on this one. I'm aware, don't you worry. I made the eggnog recipe. Boat. Time for the flop that is the VTuber TCG. Yes, very nice boat. If you hadn't, it's literally super easy. You just make eggnog. I don't think I've ever had eggnog. Gotta grab my glasses to see all this in its glory. Hi, $10. They dropped the bow on this one. I can see that. Yeah, they dropped the bow on this one. May I turn you on to Rift Runners? Maybe, because I know Hora and like Corey and a bunch of other people are in it. I'll make a Hora deck on stream if I could get a booster box. If I could get a booster box in some way, I would make a deck on stream of one of my friends, whichever one I ended up like pulling the most of. If you like custards, you like eggnog? When was the last time I had a custard? Probably a flan at a Mexican restaurant once. That's a long time ago. That was a long time ago. Also, hold on, I'm slowly drifting. So that's the thing with this model that I've like figured out. It seems to like drift on occasion. So I'm gonna look over here and this is where I'm gonna reset the default position to. All right. I can still do a little bit of arm flappy. Okay. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, it has like a little bit of drift here and there. That was a weird bug that I noticed was if I looked over here and I looked too far to the side, which it's not doing it now, but it did it earlier today when I was like testing everything. My eyes would come out of my head and it was very funny. Goodness. Fast and Furious there and go drift. If you make it on your own, it's actually easier to drink too. It's not as dense. Oh. Ooh, wow. Hi, Broth. How are you doing? Broth, do you want to see some things that I know you're going to be interested in, but also not interested in at the same time? Because they're gone. They're gone, Broth. Gone. Gone like the wind. Here, we can actually take off the jacket. Gone like the wind. reduced to atoms. Reduced to atoms. And they're back. But now they're small. Gotta be fit. Gotta be sleek sometimes, okay? You can be sleek and sexy. But better yet, prof. Better yet. And before Kono comes out of the woodworks again, but as soon as he notices, gone, gone, never to be seen again. Anyway, I'd like my red button-up shirt, please and thank you. That's never actually buttoned up, but mind your business. Clip it, no! Noise model, hi Rizlock, thank you. Sleek and sexy. Low poly, high volume. Ah! That's the thing too, is I have the house to myself this weekend, which means we get to be loud and unhinged. I don't know how unhinged I'm actually going to be because I am... What's the word? I forget the word. Thing too is this thing does like a little bit of mouth tracking, but it's mostly like lip sync for audio. Also, hold on. I need to do this again. Because I'm slowly, like, my head is slowly drifting up. Basic? I'm not basic. That's for sure. I ain't basic. How dare you? How dare... I am not... Carrie. 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 Come here, Miss Ma'am. Carrie. Carrie. What the fuck did you just say about me? Explain yourself. I'll wait. What's wrong? Marin about to parry and nuke? Where's that animation? I need that animation. Anyway. Yeah. Vox did a really good job with the eyes, with what he could do with like low poly and low pixel. So I think it looks great. I think it looks great. But let me see, how much time do we have? Well, we are 53 minutes in, which means we're probably gonna have an ad break soon, and I really gotta go to the bathroom. Before stream started, I really tried to like clear my sinuses and shit to like make myself sound as presentable as possible. So I drank so much like tea and Theraflu and like water before this. Yes, I also did, I believe I did add him before stream started. So he is down in the credits. It should be at the top of the credits page. Also, hold on, I gotta sniffle again. Goodness. So on top of the new model, as well as some of the new merch that we have, I also gave y'all new emotes. We have new follower emotes. I have tagged out all of the old, basically the very first emotes that I got for a bunch of Izzy's emotes. Isabella Ooze made those emotes. I believe the ones that I added were Snipe, Note, or I think it's Study. A cozy one by Maki, aka Kaiju Kanojo. And honestly, one of my favorites, yeah, the dead one. The dead emote is so good. I love the dead emotes. I use other people's dead emotes so often that I wanted my own. So I was like, Izzy, please, I need it with the juicy butt cheeks. It specifically needed the butt cheeks. Man, I'm dead? Why are you dead? Oh yeah, the wiggle's not going anywhere. I specifically got a 2.0 wiggle, so the 2.0 wiggle is not going anywhere. The juicy butt cheeks. Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. I love that I could do a smugger smile. It's so good. Just the... Sorry, that was the evil smile. I'm struggling. Hold on. Y'all do not want to know the face I have to make to do this. It's fucking horror movie shit. It's horror movie shit. I have to do like this weird, like toothless, open mouth smile to get it to do this the tiny smile. But the second I like bring my teeth in, it turns into the toothy smile, which is pretty great. That's actually pretty great. I'm sure you know exactly what it's doing because you're smarter than I am. Toothless grandma smile? Maybe. Maybe. Just as long as it's not that weird grandma from... Hold on. That's, oh, what was it? I could have done this together. I'm sorry, Haneru. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Oh, those didn't work on my end. Oh, they didn't work down there either. Maybe because they're too new for the like software and stuff. Interesting. Oh my goodness. Sorry, chat. You wanna know something I just found out? I didn't know I could wink. I did not know I could wink at y'all. How you doing, chat? Amazing. Amazing. The arm effects. I like the arm effects too. They're really neat. They're really neat. Voxen had to figure out some way to do them on his own to like make them work in like low poly. So they're very interesting the way that they've been made. Can you wink in Morse code? No. No. Well, that expression doesn't work very well with the small eyes. Oh well. Oh well. New Marin lore can wink. Mayhaps. Mayhaps. I do like this. You can see like the whole eye of the mini eyes too. That's cool. That's cool. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Instead, it's automatically rotate, which is a very cool way of doing it in low poly. Very much so. Very much so. It's though it means that almost every time that these arms get drawn, which is the thing I've noticed because now we actually have multiple art pieces of 2.0, the arm effects actually get drawn different like every time. They each have a unique way of being drawn. They're portrayed in the live 2D model in one way. Then they're portrayed on here in the low poly model a different way. And then in almost all the art pieces, they're different there too. They're pretty cool to see how different artists do different presentations. Exactly. Exactly. I love seeing it. I love seeing it. I really do. That's though with like the original reference, the idea I had was that like there was technically like glowing from inside the arm, which is what the red is supposed to be, which it's kind of done like that in the live 2D. Gamba, 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 gamba. Why am I lagging? Hold on a second. Marin, go lag? Listen, it's fine. It's fine. I wonder if I could make that an emote. I could probably make that an emote with this model. And a little bit of time in DaVinci Resolve. Goodness, hold on. I'm actually gonna take a cough drop. Yeah, come here. Come here and use the next cough drop. Chat, I wish I was joking. I've gone through one bag of cough drops in the past like week, less than a week, 5 days. And I still have 3 bags of cough drops around me. Enjoy your work, Hanedu. Thank you for hanging out. If you're going to leave a lurk, that'd always be greatly appreciated. Lori! Hi, Lori. Welcome in. We're getting close to an ad break, and I desperately have to go to the bathroom, so I am sitting here with my legs crossed. You can't see them from the waist down, but I am legs crossed, I promise. Thank you, Valern. It's pretty fun. I'm excited. We're going to be using this going forward for all of the retro games that we're going to be playing. Just a second. Sorry. I keep muting and turning my head to like do like the big snort because nobody wants to hear that. Yay! I get my wife's love. Yippee! The drop is clearly not enough. Not my... Oh my god, the not like this is gone. You're right. Chat. Hold on. So we had a not like this emote for the longest time, But there is somebody I know that happens to make a really, really good not like this emote. It's Ash. Ash makes a really, really good not like this emote. But do you remember about how much Ash's emotes are, chat? I still need to do that. I need to make an Ash emote thing on Throne. Ma looks great. Thank you, Doc. Have a good day. Thank you for swinging in. Yo, is there a third dimension? Yeah, there's a third dimension. I can do, oh, that's the wrong thing. Whee! Ta-da! Ordain, what are you staring at? What's wrong? What are you looking at? Hold on. What you looking at? What are we looking at? I can do more turn too. Chat, what are we looking at? What are we doing? Where are you going? Come back here. Come back here! You're looking at my back, right? You're looking at the back of the corset, right? Anyway. Oh my god, all of you. She snapped her neck, just... How you doing, chat? Anyway. Wait, what did Tommy say? Yes, the corset. Yes, the corset. That doesn't say snapped. Oh, stamped. Stamped? I cast flashbang. There is no flashbang here. What corset? God damn it. What color are my eyes? What color are my eyes? Yeah, chat, look at the belt. Here, we can do, oh, that's tilting. The belt. The belt. And my cuffs. I like my cuffs. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I can also get rid of the chains. Ta-da! But I get to keep the cuffs. I like the cuffs. You have eyes that move? I was distracted? How dare you? How dare you? It even has depth to it, which I kind of like, even if it's like really chunky. But I can also do like, the change is also done via like a PNG shenanigans, but I can also just like, it goes all the way around. Look at that. Look at that. Fantastic. Look at the stitching on the side. I love it. I love it. Oh, I can't wait to put full body tracking to this thing and just be able to fucking taunt y'all from a distance. Anyway, I'm thinking very normal, average thoughts. Understandable. Look at all those polygons. Put the jacket back on. Taunt y'all from a distance. Yeah, because I could do like the thing where I just like stand like, let's see, where is it? There. Go like way back here and just like point and laugh and just be like, ha ha. Anyway. Oh wow, the zoom is actually much slower. I can't do the point and laugh because I don't have hand tracking right now. Wait, I forgot about that quote. Payday 2. Scott from Monster Prom. Oh my god. With 4 eyes, but my god, your optometrist must make bank. It's okay, only the primary eyes actually need prescriptions. Exactly, Hectic, exactly. We're going to be playing a bunch of retro games going forward because, like I mentioned before, we have about 30 seconds till the ad break. I just realized that. So let me go ahead and get the iPad ready for y'all. So going forward, because they've played so many of like the newer horror games, we're going to be doing a lot of retro games, at least probably one a week is what I'm thinking. It's lagging. It's lagging. Oh no. All right. We'll go into a corner real quick.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Cast bread over every egg.
Hi, chat. I got too small. I don't like being this small. Okay. And then I can give you the iPad. I guess guess it was always layered like this. It just feels off for some reason. Oh, well. All right. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Ad break is going to start any second, and I'm going to go ahead and give y'all iPad time. Sunstar, you were in charge of the iPad. Thank you for doing all of your hard work, especially to all of the other mods. I'll be back in a minute. Hi, Zozo. I got to go to the bathroom really badly. Really badly. You can't see it, but I'm crossing my legs. Y'all already made it to level 11? What the fuck happened? Goodness. Hello? We need to go bigger. And this will do. Blech. Blech. Wait, did y'all perfect 2 before this? Did y'all perfect level 1 and 6? Coif! Could be a word. Could be a word. Haven't heard that word in a long time. Wait, what song is this? Oh, Rats by Ghost. Okay. Okay, that's why it sounds familiar. Yeah, F is fake. That's what Carrie said. Echoic. Oh, interesting. Arson, burn the old tin down. We're not done yet, okay? We're in a temporary vacation spot. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. We'll get through this round and then we'll probably actually get right into playing Signalis. Chic. Jesus, you guys. Jesus. We must be in some kind of digital circus. Mods, whack that guy's pee-pee. Whack that guy's pee-pee for me. Space lesbians, let's fucking go. Yeah, hell. Wait, space lesbians? This isn't Gideon the Ninth. Thank you. Grins. No, please, I beg you. Whack his pee-pee. I like that I can like look over my shoulder as if I'm like yelling to somebody off screen. Mods, do the thing. Do the thing. Twist his dick. My pingus gone. Your pingus. Hey, Mods, whack his pee-pee. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to adjust myself. I think I'm going to leave myself in this position right now while I go change the category to Signalis. You know, I probably should have made this a special event, but who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? Not me. Not me. Retrospect is for people with regrets. But let me go ahead and get this game up and running. I will have to make some audio adjustments. And I don't know, does anybody know off the top of their head if this game is better on controller or mouse and keyboard? Because I forget, isn't it tank controls? Does anybody know off the top of their head? Oh, right. That was my bad. That was my bad. Wait, what was that? Bonked! No, Sigma! Not in here! Misfire? Damn, I can't believe Carrie just fucking misfired. Okay. We'll go over here. And I will change. Oh, it's way at the bottom. Okay, hold on. No music. Game. That's not game. Also, hold on. I'm actually gonna have to reset myself so that when I look at the monitor, that's actually forward. There we go. Actually, hold on. I want it over here. That's a little better. That's a little better. Look how bright I am. Look how pale I am. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, what do we need to do here? Normal, difficulty is fine. Text speed. Oh. Speed at which text appears in dialogue boxes and cutscenes. I kind of want that fast. Mouse, aim, cursor, always. Actually, yeah, you know what? I think that's fine. Wait, what do you mean? Hi, Patty. How are you doing? Do not put her into the sun. She will get burned. Bruned. She will get bruned. All right, English. All right, advanced. That was gameplay. Automatic reloading. Automatically reload the current weapon when firing with an... Yes. Photosensitivity is probably fine. I don't want invert display. Can I do... Oh, no, it's only full screen. Okay. VSync on. I'm going to turn brightness up a little bit because I usually do turn brightness up quite a bit. Screen shake. I'm actually going to reduce that because I get motion sick sometimes with games or they give me a headache. Okay, I was just trying to hear if there was any audio going right now. Pixel scale is probably fine. I'm probably not going to change any of these. If I start getting a headache from this game, I will turn off like film grade and CRT mode, but until then, I'm going to leave it as is. These are probably fine. hold to aim. I think I do want that. I think that's how I do want it. So what do we have for controls? Tune rate. Oh. Tune radio is E. R is reload. Left click is fire weapon. Ready weapon. Okay, so to shoot, I think I have to hold right and then left click. Is use tool. Is there another use tool? Okay, it's C. C is the other button. Because I don't have the mouse button 4 and 5. Yeah, I don't have mouse button 4 and 5. So it doesn't work super well. Tends to look better on older games. True, but this game is a like new game that's trying to look like old games. But quick radio. No, it's fine. That's probably fine. Apply. Yes, keep settings. Done. System calibrated. Some parts of this game may be considered violent or cruel. My favorite! Hold any key to switch profiles. Press any key. Spacebar. I don't see the any key, chat. Oh, this is cool. I haven't seen the menu of this game. I've seen a couple of friends like play this game on occasion, but I purposely don't stay too long to get like spoiled or anything. So, you know. But this looks neat. And like her eye goes up and down. Cool. Cool. Why must you play my crushing weakness of biker jacket and booblies like this? It's what must be done. I must equip the booblies. Wait, I forget. This isn't the largest setting, is it? Okay, no, it's not. No, it's not. This is the default setting. This is the default setting that Vox had made. Hi. Oh? We are mortals. Jeebus just blows you all away. Yeah. Okay. Okay, just click to do things. Hello? It says like no access. The lock is defective. The door cannot be opened. Okay. I guess we're going up the ladder. Going up the ladder. Okay, that door can open, but... Oh no. I don't have a gun. We're gonna go with the most obvious choice. A book! Aufklärung Rathausus. TVP Penrose. Penrose type vessel. Field operation manual. Penrose type vessels of the Yushin People's Navy are low-cost space exploration vessels deployed beyond the solar system's edge in the search for planets and moons fit for habitation or rich in natural resources to support the continuous growth of our great nation. All Penrose vessels are piloted by a Gestalt scout officer supported by a land survey / ship technician replica LSTR. This partner system of Gestalt replica cooperation has proved successful in countless previous scout operations. Mutual control and support allow both the Gestalt officer and the technician replica to perform at their optimal capacity. Okay. And why can we still see the let me have it? I turned it off. Also, thank you for the self-care. All right. Once the vessel is catapulted towards the edge of the solar system by an orbital mass driver, the pilot may adjust the course from the flight deck, while the replica will take care of mechanical maintenance of the vessel. A single replica? Oh. Okay, a code of some kind. No. Diagnostic systems for the cryogenic capsule. So this is Penrose 512, it seems. Hubble, hubble, hubble. Oh, and then there's more doors. Okay. Looks like a bed. The Gestalt officer's sleeping bunk. Oh, okay, that was the redeem. I was like, music? Music? Hello? Instantly ran into it, but being able to see the head pats. Yeah, the eyes, like, you don't have to pause them. I just wish people would read the descriptions, because technically the descriptions should say no entry. Okay. All right, let's go back down. So this game really does just kind of throw you into it. We'll go clockwise. We're going to go clockwise on this. LSTR features repair logic module. Serving our great nation as ship technicians aboard the scout vessels of the Penrose program, LSTR type replicas like yourself are equipped with a specialized repair logic module, or RLM, allowing them to quickly and easily repair both themselves and important mission equipment. Accessing the RLM functions, enter the inventory screen by pressing Tab, select the item to repair with AD, press F to open the command system, select Combine option to enter combine mode. Hold on a second. Okay. While in combine mode, select second item to repair, press F again to combine both items. To repair damage to the replica body, select a suitable repair item and simply choose the use option for the command. Sometimes it can be helpful to take a good look at an object from all sides. Select the inspect option in the command menu to enter inspect mode. While in inspect mode, use WA as needed to rotate the item. Okay. So let's see, do we have... Oh, okay, that's map. W? Wait. Okay, it's just the same two over and over. Okay. Okay. Action menu? Okay, so it looks like I guess this is 6 slots. Interesting. So I don't have any items, obviously. Inspect. Ooh. Tape.
Enjoy the show.
Eon Strike, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Enjoy the show. Click. Click. Status. Critical system failure detected. Location. Unknown planetary surface. Report. Crew status. A young Gestalt pilot. No signal. LSTR 512. Replica unit active. Mess hall. Hard landing on surface has damaged critical systems. Warning. Surface temperature critically low. Wear protective clothing during AVA. That was the same thing I just read. Okay. It's just... Same thing. Okay, now I can go back. It wasn't doing it a second ago. Okay, guess that's it. So that's the manual. Okay, we can only inspect that side. Let me out! Can I check map? S. Oh, it's me. I'm the Gestalt? Okay. Okay, duh, that makes sense. I came out of the pod. Duh. Duh. Can I go maintenance? Okay. Interesting. Hi, Kilda. Welcome in. Okay, can't go left. Hello. Why are you flashing? We'll go this way. Oh boy. A suit. That's an AVA suit. Okay. suit has been removed from the case, so somebody has taken it. Which I'm guessing is the... Oh! I didn't realize I could WASD. God, I wonder how many things are going to be hidden in, like, these little moments. A decompression. Okay, we're gonna go back before we go there. I want to go further down. Ah, okay, this is the cockpit. This is broken. Starboard controls panel. The controls aren't responding to any input. Probably an electrical failure. Ship's control panel. Judging from the readout, there's no chance it'll fly again. Oh, shit. Okay. Ship is crashed in an icy landscape. Lost cause. Nothing in the chair. Control system failure due to hard landing. A faded photograph is stuck to the LDAM controls. No! It already begins. It already begins. It's of no use to me now. Okay. Oh no, not the photograph. Not the photograph. Okay. So we couldn't go this way. So we gotta go this way. Who to what now? Okay. You. Locked. Insert key. Uh-oh. So... has to be an airlock key somewhere, right? Okay. So we need to go find a key. Probably. Question mark? Question mark? Real quick. So... let's go check personnel. I love the POV 3D sections. It's pretty interesting. Oh. Oh. Smeared diary page. Hello!
This world is what you need, where the monsters roam and the
Dee!
demons all feed.
Welcome in, Raiders! Welcome in, welcome in. Oh, here, how embarrassing. Let me put these away. There we go. Welcome in, Raiders! How was your stream? How was Indigo Park? Did you have a wonderful time? Was it your first time playing it? Welcome in! Also, hold on. I apologize if I sound off. I am very stuffed up still from being sick. Oh, okay, bring it back. Sorry, here. We'll downgrade them. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But welcome in, Raiders. I hope you had a wonderful stream. But for those of you from TD Stream who don't know me, my name is Mara, and I'm the ringleader of the Dark Carnival. I usually play games that are dark, spooky, terrifying, or just whatever my little inclinations like to get into.
Enjoy the show.
Pinkwist, thank you for the follow. We're currently playing Stimulus. We only just started.
Enjoy the show.
Kaido on the clock, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Breaking it down and figuring out the spooky ooky lore. Ooh, I love lore breakdowns. I want to start doing lore breakdowns in the future. We will see what happens. We will see what happens, though. I mostly have rants lined up, which I think is a poor choice to start a YouTube channel off on. But I have things to rant about. V-Card for 1. Lazy horror devs for 2. We're going to talk about frequently used assets. Oz. 10 months, let's go. Also, happy debut. Nice. Love the new look. Hope you're feeling better. I am a lot better than I was over the weekend. I'm also lagging really badly for some reason. It doesn't like me for some reason. But that shit happens. Sorry, I'm adjusting myself in my chair. Ah, there we go. There we go. I was in NYC, goodness, over the weekend, so no, that's fine. This is our first stream of the week, as well as my first one since last Friday. I have been that under the weather. Bound to happen? Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. But let's see. What does it say? This is the Bloody Diary. Cabellos, thank you for gifting a sub to... Oh, shit!
Enjoy the show.
Sorry, I had to say it like that because I thought it was funny. We're putting in leftover polygons in the asset store. No! No, they're going to use it into the ground. I'm going to be as overused as HQ, high quality residential house. Cough upwards and infect all of chat. Goodness, that fake cough turned into a real cough. Oh my goodness. All right, what are we doing? Woke up from cryo in maybe empty mess hall. I was wondering, blah, blah, blah. Esther is looking out flight, like some lost in thought. Sometimes I feel like is home. Interesting. As far as I didn't notice that earlier. The thing too, though, is some stuff in here. Oh, it's the leave thing. Is that like a lot of the stuff kind of blends in really well with the environments. Yeah, that one's blocked. Okay. I wonder, could I find the card in the cryo? I don't think the code's going to be as simple as 512, right? No. Wait. Really? No? Nice look you have there. Hi, Cabellos. Main! Just mash every possible combo. I don't think I can. I was solve this thing up here at the top, but it doesn't seem like that's it. What could it be? Am I missing something somewhere? Probably. Okay. I feel like the card's gonna be inside this pod. But what would it be? Wouldn't be in here. Because it doesn't actually like turn the page. Oh, here, let me Aha! Aha! I'm smart. I'm so smart. Not even close, baby. Not even close. Is it scanning? Not even sticky note. The passcode above it has printed. Listen, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. 2 pieces of a card snaps in half, lie inside the cryogenic pod. Hell yeah. And then... ta-da! To the airlock! You get a haircut? I did get a haircut. Thank you for noticing. Hi, Bertle. How are you doing? And then it's right over here. Welcome back to the airlock. You. Yes. Time to put on the suit. Aww. Oh, I look so tired. Oh, I look so tired. I bought some nerds, like the candy nerds. Marin is smart. Smart. Are we locking out heirs now? We don't need heirs where we're going. They're taxing us to hell anyway. You're not gonna get the money of your parents. The government's gonna take it, silly. Little too real. I'm sorry about that, chat. Little too real. But really. Cool. Full screen? Full screen? Sorry, hold on. There we go. Wonka candy is peak. Listen, it used to be Wonka candy. I don't think they even labeled those things as Wonka candy anymore. Okay. Oh, do I have control? Oh, I think I do. Keep walking forward. Oh wait, did I just see something in the snow? Okay. Goodness, I'm sorry about all the sniffles, chat. If y'all have heard like the little ones here and there, I'm trying to mute anytime I do like one of the big ones where it's just like those are the first ending, but hell if I remember any of the puzzles or anything. That's totally fine. Okay, what do we have here? A shockingly untouched hole with very little snow in it. Into the mystery hole! Leading deep into the ground. It's a faint light glowing in the deep. Chat? Chat? Do we go into the wall hole? The mystery hole? 2 to 3 endings, special ending you get gotta do special stuff for. I've heard about that. I've heard this game has like really a lot of endings. I don't think I'm gonna try to aim for a specific one right now in our like first playthrough. Oh. Hole. Hole. Praise be. Oh. It's an office. An old wooden wardrobe. What? Radio transmitter seems to be connected to a computer. Okay. What can I do with you? That said wardrobe again. Computer screen is blank. That's the hole? Oh, good lord. A heavy safe box wrapped in chains. Okay. The national flag. Dark pictures of a coastline and an island. Are they photographs? Books. Old imperial cereals. I'm pretty sure these are banned. Really? Textbooks on radio operation. They look old and worn. I can't move. An ancient looking tome is lying on the table. It feels like it's calling to me. The King in Yellow! Okay. Hello? The King in Yellow is not an SCP, Jamie. The King in Yellow is Lovecraftian horror. Three 39486. Chat, write this down. 60170 24328. Great hole secretly digged. We're Earth's pores ought to suffice. And things have learned to walk that ought to ooh! Okay. Fine.
Wake the fuck up, samurai.
I'm awake.
We have a city to
Hi,
burn.
Johnny. How are you doing? I can't touch you yet. I can't touch you. Oh, good morning. Welcome in, Raiders. How was your stream? Did you have a good time? How was... Oh, like a dragon. Did you have fun? Chamber music. I saw you drop a sit in here earlier at the beginning of stream.
Making a mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
Bathroom stalls in various states of disrepair. Okay. Why am I in the bathroom? I came all the way here to find her. Uh-oh. 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 Hi, Xyla. Welcome in. Thank you. I did, but I experienced a major scuff. My headset mic is kind of messed up. Oh, shit. Oh, hey, there's something on the floor. Right? Service access lifts. I don't need to go back. Oh, okay. Okay. Ling Orbital S23 Serpinski. Oh, wait, what was that? Ling Orbital Interchange S23 Serpinski Facility Transit Station. Welcome to Serpinski Facility. That is not at all what that item looked like on that bench. Welcome to the S23 Serpinski. You've been selected or elected to be relocated by Aeon to S23 Serpinski, located on Ling, at the frontier of the solar system. S23 Serpinski is the perfect place for a new beginning. At our prestigious vocational school facility, you will learn new skills to shape your future as a productive citizen of our wonderful nation. Here, you will learn all about mineral extraction, ore refinement, and munitions production, helping the war effort against the remnants of the Empire. And of course, learning is not just about theory. Aeon lets you learn your share while practicing your new craft right at the workplace. Concerned about your family, friends, former colleagues? Ask a protector about our ration sharing plan. A portion of your ration marks will be sent to the beneficiary of your choice. Amazing. Oh, was that supposed to be a door? Oh, okay, I didn't realize it was supposed to be a door. It also looks like there's something through here. Can I look in here? Oh God, there's a reflection. That's cool. There's a keycard with a note taped to the window of the reception. Due to staff shortage, report new arrivals at classroom 4C Northeast. Yee. Keep card. Hell yeah. God, though, when you take an item, it's really fucking mysterious about it. Wait. That's not the same photo. That's not the same photo, right? Like, the thing on the back is gone. Oh. I can't read it. Nina? Nina C? Because wasn't the photo had a person with white hair. They had white hair. I'm pretty sure. Don't worry, I have the receptionist card. I see you up there. I see you up there. Okay, let's go. What's here? It's locked, requires a key. Damn it. Hold on, what's this poster? The rule of 6. Uh-oh. Remember the rule of 6. Never carry more than 6 items on your person. Property is a privilege. Keep your pockets empty and your bag light. Okay. Whatever you say, propaganda poster. Maybe she's seeing things. I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't think I want to go in there. Hi, Wrath. How are you doing? What are you? A dead Yule unit. She's in a horrible state. Infected-looking biocomponents are bulging out of the damaged shell. What happened to her that could cause this? Okay. Okay, what's this? Service request form F29. Data filing service request form 84214. Full protector ID of unit filing request. EULR S2309. Replica. Status staff. Department redacted. Full protector ID of unit processing request. ARAR S2303. Replica. Service object. Mons detector's high security wall safe. Numeric keypad. Location of object. Classroom 4B. Description. The wall safe in classroom 4B keeps resetting to the default combination. What's the point of the whole radio code broadcasting system if our safe can only be opened with the code in the manual? Okay. Okay. Keep records. Protocol everything. Remember, if you didn't write it down, it never happened. Get the right forms from administration and save your files frequently. Bulging! Bulging at the seams, you say? Oh, that's fucky. That's fucky. Anyway. Memorandum, wall safe codes. It has come to my attention that at least one worker might be aware of the code broadcasting frequencies for the protector wall safes. Any workers connected to this leak are to be interrogated until the culprit is found. I'm restricting all radio privileges for workers until further notice. Adler. Zoomed? What are we zoomed at? What's wrong? Oh, that's another door. Doesn't look like there's anything else. Can I sprint? Oh, I can't sprint. Yeah. Oh, I don't like how many doors there are. I want to go back. I want to go back. I want to go back. Also, wait, why is this red? My eyes! Oh, it's a place I can save. Neat. Neat. Okay, yeah, we'll go this way. Oh, right, it's broken. Okay, we're gonna go down here. And then, that was locked, that was locked. We'll go this way. Also defective. Never mind then. Never mind! We're gonna keep going the way we were going. Fantastic. Do the thing? What's the thing? Hi, ghost. Go down here. Oh, damn it. We're here. Is this classroom? What classroom number is this? No running in the hallways. No running in the hallways. Be mindful of your neighbors. Everyone can hear you run. Thunk, 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 thunk. Okay. Ah, okay. So here's one of the safes, but we currently don't have any information on it. Is this a basic chalkboard? Not what I expected here. Oh, I'm lagging. I'm lagging. All right, chat. We gotta put the BAPs back. We gotta shrink the BAPs. Overloading. Overloading stream. Blocked. Blocked. Looks like this needs... Oh, no, I can just go through. Oh, hi! Oh, she's cute. An Elster unit. You should leave this place. This facility is lost. Turn back before it's too late. I'm looking for this woman. Have you seen her? I don't know her, but she might be one of the workers. All Digital workers were sent to the mine below the facility. If she's still alive, she's probably down there. Shit. There's an access elevator to the mine shaft 1 level below, but you'll need an administrator's key to use it. Okay. I see something over here. That was easy. Any secrets? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Oh, there's doors on the side here. Hold on. No entry. Okay, defective. 4C. Hold on. I want to go back this way. I don't like the music! Hi, corpse. Oh, there's another one. A dead Yule unit. Why is she abandoned here? An aperture card microfilm viewer. If I had an aperture card, I could view its contents here. Oh god, my own legs just scared me. Oh. A simple first aid kit. I can't use any of these since they're not designed for replicas. Hello. This is a very... Oh, it's a dictionary. A very small dictionary. Replica, noun, plural, replicas, bleh. Shortened from the archaic replicat, copy, replica. Biomechanical person, synthetic reproduction of a gestalt. Biological culture grafted onto an artificial endoskeleton and enclosed in a protective exoskeleton. Gestalt, shortened from the archaic ugustalt. Compare, archetype, prototype, the person that is not a replica. Huh. Okay. Goodness. Okay. So now, I don't think we can use that card for anything. Right? I don't think the card can open this safe. Can it? Can it? No, it's a code. Okay. So maybe we can go down. Okay. So back here. Can we go this way? No. Can we go this way? Okay, I guess we can only go forward. I'll be out of here as soon as this repair patch stops my bleeding. You should be out of here too. I don't know who that woman is, but she's probably dead by now. If you still want to go, good luck. Okay. Classroom key. Oh, fuck. Okay, so we missed something somewhere. So... Oh, can I get into the camera room? Can I get into the camera room? It's back this way. So the camera room that was over here, down, yeah. And then right there. Yes, protector key. A very small room. God, I can see an empty classroom on the other side of the window. The glass seems like it's tinted or a one-way mirror. Gross. Hey, yo, give me that gun. Aperture card, perfect. And then a guide. Type 75 pistol, user manual. The Type 75 pistol is a short recoil operated. Short recoil operated? What? Locked breech, semi-automatic pistols chambered in 10-20 millimeter. Okay. This reliable, versatile handgun is the standard issue sidearm for Aeon Protector Controller staff. Replica users recommend to first equip the Type 75 pistol in the inventory screen. To designate the pistol as your primary weapon for the targeting module. To deploy the weapon, hold right-click to engage the safety and enter targeting mode. While in targeting mode, left-click or spacebar will both fire the weapon. R to initiate a reload. Remember, do not waste ammunition, for it is a resource of the nation. When a target is down, try to finish it off by kicking or hitting it with a baton to preserve ammunition. Memorandum terminology. I announce the following by order of Aeon. Due to recent events in accordance with the new Aeon Public Interest Media Regulation, AGM 87, the term redacted. Hold on. Written for me, you were playing my favorite game of all time. I'm so sad I can't watch live because I'm at work, but I hope you have so much fun. Oh, hold on. I'm about to cough. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Also, hi. Welcome in. Alkovic? Welcome in. Yeah, this is my first time playing this game too. I've actually been waiting to play it a long time, and I specifically waited until the low poly model was ready. Oh goodness, hold on, I gotta cough again.
Enjoy the show.
No, y'all do not want to hear all the strange noises I'm making. Nancy Doozy, thank you for the follow. Welcome in, enjoy the show. Cyborg clone, so yeah, you got an M on your head? I do got an M on my head. Can I turn? Yeah, there's an M on my head. Look at it back there. Look at it back there. Anyway, we want to clip it for later? Absolutely not, because it's just going to be hawking and hooking. Which is currently in use in various Aeon facilities, is no longer permissible and must no longer be used. Premises and departments that are currently using the term are to be immediately renamed. Wait, this feels familiar for some reason. Thank you, Nancy. Welcome in. All right. Management personnel shall black out the term for all signage and documents until replacement terminology is announced by Aeon with immediate effect. Usage of the term in conversation and correspondence is an offense, obscenity to the state, and to be punished with 2 cycles of double work shift. 2 cycles? How much is a cycle? It may not be easy, but we will all have to do our part. Always remember, our language shapes our world. A perfect world requires a perfect language. Adler. Uh-oh. Adler strikes again. Now, what is this cable? That I already read. Okay, let's equip the pistol. Oh. Nice. And we got 10 bullets. Okay. So now we need to go to the library. I don't like that. You're not going to get up too, right? Hi. Oh, hello. Where did you come from? You don't belong here either, do you? I'm Isa Ito. You should be careful. There's something wrong with this place. I don't know what happened, but it's probably dangerous to go any further. That's okay. I understand. I have something I need to do too. Take care. I hope you find who you're looking for. Okay. I don't know for certain, but I think it's the local measurement of a day. Probably. All right, this is what we need. Yes. Oh. High security wall safe numeric. The wall safe complies with use in public safety equipment regulations 41 and 43 and features a high density craft stall door secured with a numeric lock. Proudly produced at Heimat by VEB Mondentolcher Tresortnik. I'm going to butcher these words. I'm sorry, chat. I'm going to butcher these. I apologize to all the German viewers, especially Kerbelos. 1,000 millicycles? Out near it. I'm going to fucking throw you out a window. It's probably just one rotation around, like, whatever their star is. Could be a day, planet cycle, a month, moon cycle, or a year, solar cycle. Yeah, probably. I think it's just going to be a day. I think it's going to be a day. Oh boy, I love wrong speak. Wrong language. Can't remember for certain, but I think it's the local measurement of German. My mother? What? You'll be happy to know that I'll make that sound when startled. Ugh. Marin scream? I scream all the time. They do give context hints over time. Mods defenestrate him. Starting and Hardenbert. Fuck you, Fairbanks. Fuck you. Marin, as I said to my favorite speedrunner, I forgive you. Thank you. Thank you, Cabellus. You take that back? No. No. All right. Instructions for use. Enter the code using the keyboard. Press the confirm key in the lower right corner. If correct, a green light will light up. Rotate the dial on the left to open the door. To clear any previous entered digits, press E. Enter enter the factory default code 204512 to open the safe. While the door is open, enter the desired new code into the keypad. Press and hold the confirm key for 10 seconds till the green light lights up. Don't ask me any colors. What color is this paper? Jane, what color is the paper? Tell me your secrets, little man. Look out, little German boy. Man's butchering your language. I'm not going to try to say that. I'm not going to try to say that. Oh, yes, it's Japanese. Japanese. Amazing. Okay, so 204512. Okay. 205. Wait, I already forgot. I already forgot. We gotta go back. 204512. I had my brain was already like 205. 204512. 204512. 204512. 204512. 204512. I'm gonna save. Two zero four five one two. Okay. Oh shit! Ad break. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Ad break time. Let me get you the words on stream. Okay, guys. I'm gonna go take a brief break. I'm gonna go check on Coco outside. I'm gonna go hork it up somewhere for a little while rather than having to mute on stream. And I'll give y'all some music. Now, don't burn anything down and stay out of trouble. And good luck, kiddos. How do I leave again? Oh, yeah. Like this. Okay, chat. Y'all didn't burn anything down, right? Nothing's on fire, right? Totally. Totally. All right, which one of you shitters wants to... Disgusting. Disgusting. Rating on the hawk to it. Disgusting. For free? No. Absolutely not. No way in hell. But I do have a cranberry limeade that I got for free. Delicious. Delicious. Anyway. Plus ad quote, right? All right, which one of you shitters wants that? Disgusting. You'll get nothing and like it. Hawk a lime, cranberry. I think they just fucking grins. Grins. Oh, wait, did y'all fail in that one of the other levels? No! Checking in, how goes? Hi. And let me go ahead and push this away. We just had a commercial break, so we're getting back to the game right now. No, Sabaton! Silence. We must get back to space lesbians. We're going to the classroom, that's right. 204512? Was that the code? Is that not it? Duh, I have to hit enter, stupid. Classroom key. I don't like the fact that when I pick up items that are apparently useful, I get the weird thoom. Thoom. Fantastic. No time for fighter bomber lesbians, only time for space lesbians? Where's the fighter bomber lesbians? Where are those? Wait, what are those in Hectic? Hectic! Hectic! You can't say something like that! Is it Ace Combat? It feels like it'd be Ace Combat. All right, now we need to go up Nya. Oh my god, she's gone! Ah, a repair patch, neat. Was this here before? Oh my god, it's ammo! Thank god, gimme. Where did she go? Unsighted and cookie cutter are equally good, but for different reasons. Hi, Elf! How are you doing? If they're ace, though? Oh, true. True. I can't believe Hectic hasn't answered me yet. I can't believe Hectic dropped a bomb like fighter bomber lesbians and then didn't mention what it was from. Oh, right, the Night Witches. Never mind, you were correct. You are correct. That is right. I was expecting another form of media. Oh boy, a hole! My favorite. Looks like this is all I can do. You know what? That's allowed. That's allowed. Amazing. Amazing. Yes. Yeah, I know what the White Night Witches is about. All right, hold on. More limeade. I don't want to be down here anymore. Oh, shit. Seamless collapse. There's no way through. Wait, did it collapse behind me? Wait, what? Trash. Trash in the door. Hello? These look like holding cells. Are these elevators? Okay. Oh, I don't think I want to take it. So this should technically just be like a floor out of order. Gee, I wonder. I wonder why. And then there's like 2 of these things in here. A dead Yule unit. The synthetic skin and hair on her head was replaced with a layer of thin, wet gauze. Parts of her polyurethane shell are missing, exposing her biocomponents. I wonder how this happened. Excuse me. I'm sure y'all aren't gonna get up. Unlocks from the other side. Okay. Okay, let's go straight. Oh, it's not looking at the body, it's looking at the door. Okay. Another F29. Service request form F29. Filing service request 84216. Full protector ID S2306. Is this the same one? I think this is the same form. Type D automatic security door. Location of object worker block A6 corridor. Description: the lock on the staff door at A6 is jammed again. Requesting a locksmith. Service status: electronics reset key is nowhere to be found.
Enjoy the show.
Hi, fish. Hi, Marion. Hi, chat. Hi, lesbian horror game. You look so good. Thank you. Thank you. I did my best. I did my best. Also, Snail Freak. Snail Freak, are you here to take me to Snail Church, aka Snurch? Let me take you to Snurch. Guess what? What? Is it chicken butt? Is it chicken butt? Okay. I set up a lockpicking kit, but management bumped the elevator ends up in priority, so next shift we'll have to pick the lock. It's just trial and error at this point. Find me if you need a key to open the service hatch or ask management whatever. Foomph. Foomph. So this is the A6 corridor. Okay. Which we don't have. You are blocked. This one I'm pretty sure was not. What's that? What's that? I don't like this. I don't like this. Okay. Boom, 5. Ah. I'm about to go to work in a hospital in August. Carrie, that's so far away. Why is that so far away? Pretty close. Boom. Alina's diary. Feeling a little lightheaded today. I hope it's not the new flu that seems to be going around. I can't afford to miss any more shifts. The storage at the factory was chewing me out for what felt like hours for fainting at work the last time I got a cold. I haven't seen Elster the last few days. I hope she's okay. More and more people go missing in the mine lately, including replicas. Not even the protectors seem to be safe. Okay. Hold on, what's this letter? Scrawled note. Kick them while they're down, kick them while they're down, kick them while they're down. Okay. Affected by unknown disease and mental trauma? Where have I seen this before? Don't worry about it. This time it's biomechanical instead of just necrological. It's fine. Hello? Yes, hello! Table's also flipped up. I just realized that. Diary. The protectors have been worried lately. They're hiding something. There's less of them. Ration plan keeps changing. Alina says I'm imagining at them, and I feel like their fear like it's my own. What are we scared of? I don't think there's anything back here. Unflip? What do you mean unflip? Yeah, stomp mechanics. Can't go that way. Can't go that way. Can't go that way. So we need to go somewhere else. Maintenance, probably. So let's go this way. Nyom. Where's the butcher lady, too, by the way? We have not found the butcher lady that it showed us. Okay, that's one of the keys that we need. Yeah, this way. Maybe we do need to try to take the elevator. That's blocked. That needs a key. West wing key required. Okay. I guess we're taking the elevator. Elevator controls locked. Insert protector identification. Oh, hey. Service hatch. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. What if we added a voice changer that's an 8-bit? I don't think I have anything for that. Let me see real quick. Let me check something really quick while we're staring at this map that makes it look like I have to go up a whole bunch of floors and then all the way back down. Let me see. What if I had... Nah, that won't do. I don't think robot... Yeah, robot won't work either. I could probably finagle it, but I'd probably have to look it up a little bit to see if I could figure out how to do it. But I was just looking to see if my XLR could do it. Doesn't look like it. Vertical map of S23 Sierpinski. Workers is orange. Hospital wing is green. So... Wait, so technically... Wait, there's a freight elevator. Personnel, protectors, and operational command way at the bottom. So, mine access only goes between workers section. Ooh, okay. Oh boy. Megas XLR? No. Chicks dig giant robots. I don't like that pan.
Oh, I'm so glad you've learned your place, chat.
How could you do that to me? How could you do that to me? It's so loud in my ears. It's so loud in my ears. Fuck you. Fuck you. Yeah, I'm jump scared by my own voice. That shit happens all the time. Imagine. It happens all the time. Don't worry about it. It's because it's so loud in my ears that I don't know how to turn it down. I don't know how to turn it down in my ears without turning it down in like everything else. Actually, take that back. I do know how to do that. Hold on a second. Or at least I have an idea on how to do it. There we go. There we go. That should do it. Okay, I'd like to leave. Please don't jump scare me. Okay, so now we have the hatch key. It's mainly because I was half anticipating something like to jump out from the darkness because it force panned me over to it. So I was really scared from it. I swear these things are probably gonna get up in a minute, aren't they? fuck is that thing? Some sort of lock-picking device that's mounted to an electronic reset switch. It seems like I can adjust the key teeth with buttons below. Oh, I see. So... hold on. Okay. One is actually good, so this needs to go up one. I don't think it needs to go that low, but that's... oh, that was it! Wait, wasn't that it? Connected to the lockpicking device. Wait, is one of them not lined up? That should turn it! Oh, okay, I guess this is the only thing I can look at. Puzzle time, right? You're a whiz at Resident Evil puzzles, right? Kind of. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I just wasn't registering the first one right because I didn't adjust it at all. Okay. East Wing here. Hello. Okay. A butterfly. The box is locked. It looks like it requires some sort of square-shaped key. Oh boy, is it time for the jewel keys already? Okay, some kind of infirmary it looks like. Storage box. I think I'm good. I don't think I need to store anything. Another repair patch. Even better. I hate that. I hate that so much. Okay. That's a very small little, like, med bay. But I guess it doesn't matter whenever you have, like, multiple floors dedicated to it. Start from the left and work forward. East Wing key, let's go. Okay. Interrogation report. Subject, worker S23A6514, Wilhelm Chen. Offense, contraband found in locker. Result, confession. Punishment, no food, 3 cycles. S23A3051, Michaela Wong. Offense, illegal use of radio. Result, confession. Punishment, ISO, 2 days. I'm guessing that means isolation. Wolfgang Wong, illegal use of radio. Expired during interrogation? What? Whoa. Obscenity to the state. Passed out during interrogation. Punishment, double work shift, 2 cycles. Emily Huang. Trespassing. Expired during interrogation. Punishment, none. Jesus. Jesus. What are you? Wonderwaffen. Super weapons of our nation in the battle against the Empire. Falk units. I'm sure that's not going to come back to bite us or anything. Totally. Memorandum, wall safe codes. It's come to my attention that at least one worker might be aware of the code's broadcasting frequencies for the projector wall safes. Okay, this is the same thing. That's the same thing. And there's a wall safe over there. Disposable stun baton. Don't mind if I do. Electro impulse devices. Due to recent events, all faculty staff members are encouraged to familiarize themselves with the use of electro-impulse devices. We've been supplied with a shipment of EIG-2 disposable stun prods for training purposes. Please refer to the enclosed handbook for more information. Expired punishment, double work shift, just throws a corpse into the mine. Fuck units, no, Falk units. Get your minds out of the gutter, Void. EIG-2 Sembaton is a single-use, short-range, disposable, non-lethal solution to incapacitate non-cooperative individuals. It can be equipped to the tool slot in your inventory screen. Once equipped, it'll be shown on the lower left of your inventory screen. It can be used with one hand while on the move or even while aiming another weapon. Once equipped to use the stun baton, simply press C when facing a nearby enemy. Okay. Warning, high voltage electrical discharge may arc to individuals close to the target. Use with care. Do not deploy on elderly, pregnant, or individuals with known heart disease unless absolutely necessary. Dispose of stun pod properly after use. Me dropping it on the floor. What was it, chat? Let's see if it still has the default. 204. What was it? 512? I forget. Was that what it was? Anybody remember? What about the gutter? Eula's owl? Okay, this is what we've already read. Wait, any workers connected are to be interrogated until culprit is found, restricting all radio privileges for workers until further notice. Okay, so we need to find a code. Okay. So now we can go to the East Wing. Excuse me! Bathroom. Squat toilet. Oh, hey. God, they need to get a better sound. Is someone inside? I doubt it. Oh, I can't kick it even with F. Okay. Hello. Nothing on the bulletin. Oh my God, the lighting. Hell yeah. Okay. Oh, what the heck? Oh, this is just telling me where I am because I'm off camera. I guess that's everything in here. Plush, thank you for renewing your season pass. 2 years. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Thank you for the 2 years of season passes. I hope you've enjoyed your time here. It's only gonna get better. That looks like a pile of something. Look at all that. Look at all that. There's gotta be more here, right? We're missing something. Maybe there's another section we can go through. Did we check here? Yeah, we checked here. How many items do I have right now? Okay, I'm still doing good. Also, I need to equip that. Okay. I don't think... I feel like I'm supposed to be able to open this, but... Radio. Radio. Could we listen in on the radio somehow? That's just the guidebook. Okay, let's go see if we can find a radio somewhere. Two years, 1 month. Hey, listen, that's still pretty good, okay? That's still pretty good. Castrated men. That is, I couldn't even tell you the context. Couldn't even tell you the context. Okay, maybe there'd be a radio Defective. Y'all saw that, right? Y'all saw that, right?
Enjoy the show.
No! Oh, shit. F is also confirm. I probably just used so much of my ammo. Okay. Well, I kind of do want to check these rooms. That looks like a microwave. Oh. Hello. There's also intercoms. If there's like these small caged bunks where all assault worker can call their own. Okay. Is this the lesbian cyberpunk game? Cyberpunk? No. I mean, kind of cyberpunk in the case that they're like synthetic people. Old and worn. Okay. Actually, wait, I forget. Did I check this thing that's way down here at the bottom that looks like a note on the floor? No? Okay. But this also makes me think that, like... Oh, yeah. I know what you mean in the case of it being, Okay. Oh, no, this is the first one we checked. Can't go in there. Can't go in there. Okay. Oh, hi! Die! Did I hear more gunshots? Y'all hear that? Hello? We don't have the West Wing key. Okay. Was this other door an East Wing thing? I forget. Oh, shit. So we're missing something. Okay. It's just the request form about the lock thing. Okay. There's gotta be something we're missing. I gotta be getting low on ammo too. I've sent so much ammo. But there's nothing a fuck in here. There's only the just like patch, wasn't it? We got like another patch. Hi, Rama. Sorry if I sound off. I'm all sniffly because I'm still a little sick. Darn. I wanted to see if I could shoot the door open. I can't kick it either, which is unfortunate. Been in here. This is basically just a save room, which I am actually going to go ahead and save because we killed all of those things. Please, please don't be a Souls-like situation where now I go back in there and they're all back up. I hope this is more of a Dead Space situation where they just stay dead. Oh yeah, there's a map. How do I... There we go. Butterfly box, wall safe, elevator control. We need protector for it. Then A7 is blocked off, which we already know. Oh, there was the down door. I missed the down door. I'm coming. I'm coming up. All right. Oh, wait. Oh, shit. No, it's still... Oh, there's 2 doors over there. Can I... Oh, I can't. I can't just sneak around this thing. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Shit. Itch. Whatever it is, it doesn't seem edible. Okay. I don't know what you are. It's breathing? Okay. God damn it. Okay. Ooh. Uller. Simple universal light replica Ulla. Okay. Notes. Oh no, an R90. Service request form R90. Data filing service request form 84213. Full protector ID. Uller S22303. Department kitchen staff worker quarters. Uller RKM 7 spatial navigation module. My mapping module is still defective and won't show any map data. I keep getting lost on my way to work and back. I have to sleep in a hallway last cycle because I couldn't find the staff elevator to get to my dorm. Please, I can't find my way around this place without a map. Mars. Mars? Mars or Maz? I'm really bad with the umlaut. Hold on a second. Euler? Is it Euler? Euler? I thought it was Euler. Because EU typically, even, I'm pretty sure in German, still makes like a Y sound. Okay, can't go that way. I see something on the table here. A Mensa key. What are you? Okay, hold on. I don't think that's relevant, so... Mensa key. I always heard it oi. I've always heard it you. Because I'm pretty sure the English EU is Germanic based. I want map. Okay. That's annoying. Hi, Keyshawn. Happy birthday, Keyshawn. Did you have a good birthday? Did you eat something delicious? Kono might like this game. Actually, I don't think Kono plays many games outside of like multiplayer ones. Okay, let's go over here. Shit. Oh, Jesus. I have no ammo. I have no ammo. Fuck. There's ammo right over there. Ow. Oh, I'm stuck. Ow, stop it. Thanks, Taser. Well, I lived. Okay, I'm actually going to use one of these. There we go. All better. Okay. Got some more ammo. Is usually used to replace languages that don't have an umlaut. Oh. But I mean, this game's been using German letters this whole time. Okay. Damn it. 4 shots? Why didn't she go down? The other ones went down much easier. Okay, hold on. Can I unlock this? Okay, good. Phone, please. Wait, are these all just toilets? Okay, we'll take the broken key. Think of self-care. I'm gonna drink limeade. Is the new model modeled after a game? No, it is not. It is just, it's Vox's style and the way that he thought best conveyed the design. We're also currently minimized. So here, let me just uncompress. Let's just, there we go. Anyway, back to default size. Oh, hi. Are you a friend? Hell yeah, give me that shit. Oh, this is storage. You don't look like you belong here. You're an Elster unit, right? This facility is currently on lockdown. You shouldn't be here. Is that it? I'm the protector controller on duty on this level. I don't know what kind of business you have here, but as you could probably see, we've got bigger issues right now. If you're looking for the commander, I have bad news for you. She got sick and everyone else is getting sick too. There's a severe lack of like people that I'm pretty sure that are supposed to be in here and they're just not. About the administrator. From work shift controller to night shift controller. Due to recent events, some security technicians will be serving both work shifts and night shifts. Effective guard units, Star S23 04, 05, 06, and 09. And affected controller units, STCR 23, S2303, and CR S2306. Until an effective treatment is found or reinforcements are sent from HIMATS, we'll all have to stay strong and do our best to help the facilities secure, keep the facilities secure. Blah. Failure is not an option. Storch Cybin, STCR S2307. P.S. Keep an eye on the administrator unit. Since the incident, he's been acting stranger than usual. Without the commander to keep him in check, we'll have to ask Calibri for help. Okay, so we have Storch. What is this box, by the way, I wonder? Do you not want to, like, work with me or anything? But who knows where he is? Okay. Well, at least I have another stun baton. Oh, West Wing key. That's what we just got. So we can go this way. Run, 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 run. Okay. I like how she looks grotesquely stretched or weirdly placed at first, but it's just because she's 230 centimeters tall. Yep. Yep. Like, we're technically one of the smallest of the replicants. There's so many of them that are, like, purposely made to be bigger or taller than we are. I'm gonna go up here and save really quick. Just so that I have it done, because we butchered our way through everything. Yes. 230. But what? Boa. We need more tall wife. I think we all need more tall wife. Everybody needs more tall wife in their life. Be like me, chat. Get yourself a 9-foot wife. All right, so now we can go to the West Wing that's over here. Boy, I hope there's not gonna be anything in here that's gonna kill me. Why is it so dark? Why are there so many fucking intercoms? Jesus. Okay, that's the freight elevator that we need to get down to the mine. Mine shaft A access. Need administrator's key. Okay. Shower. Fuck. Also, double fuck. Don't mind if I do. God, the ammo in this game is so... I bet there's gonna be more in here. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Oh, hey. Okay, so now we have 2 pieces of broken key. Combine. Butter. Oh, it's a square key. Okay. Neat. There's another... wait, another door into the shower room? Really? I have no ammo, though, so... Oh, I think I'm gonna risk it. I think I'm gonna risk it. It's okay, we can just back out of the room. Oh! There's another stun baton. Hell yeah. Is it... Oh, it doesn't auto-equip it. Oh! Oh. Search protocol. Protector controller on duty. STCR 23... S2303. Protector on duty. STAR S2305. What is the difference between a protector controller and a regular protector? Is the protector controller like the manager? It goes in the square hole. Helene's song, confiscated items, watch and ring, residence, dorm A16, workplace, political morals class, arrested in ongoing investigation, stolen radio, original reasons for transfer, counter-revolutionary activity, distributing flyers at university. Julia Huang, confiscated items, medication, dorm A64, mining operation A, arrested on suspicion of bioresonance, confiscated hydroxycarbamide pills have been sent to the medical wing. Special supervision requested has been forwarded to Colibri. Alina CO. Confiscated cosmetic box with butterfly inlay locked. Dorm A61. Workplace factory. Collapse of the workplace from exhaustion. Bunk was searched before transfer to medical wing. Heinrich Fukuyama. Confiscated fountain pen. Residency dorm A22. Workplace mining operation A. Recent transfer from factory. Arrested on suspicion of conspiracy against the state. Huh. No. I don't think that room's red over there, so we're gonna go in here. I had to be proven wrong. My decisions always have to be proven wrong, apparently. Frequencies! Oh. Moon 55. Sun 86. Scales 118. Rook 145. Tree 177. Sword 232. Huh. Hold on, is there anything else? Okay. Fuck you! We are leaving! Okay, what can I do with repair spray? Single-use spray gun to fill damaged areas with fast-curing polyurethane-based foam. Restores a medium amount of health instantly. Okay, so this is just the middle-level health heal up. Which I guess is fine. I can't, like... Diagnostics? Condition caution. Okay, so might as well use another patch. Oh, I'm still caution. Huh. Okay. I don't think I like the fact that it seems like there's like a security office attached to the, what do you call it? Okay. Can't go down there. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna go open the butterfly box. Up. Yes, this way. Go up here. Stop fucking mosquito. Fucking mosquitoes! What? Degenerates, every one of you. Butterfly box is in here. Yes. Ooh. Mysterious artifact placed in the box. Plate of Eternity. Oh. Oh no. It's a first-person game now. Yippee! Wow. Hello? Oh my god. A replica radio module in the box. Frequencies between 50 and 250 kilohertz. Oh! Tuned to certain frequencies automatically decodes messages will appear in the transcription window. Oh. How did I get here? Long-wave radio receiver module user. The RIM64 long-wave radio receiver module allows a replica unit to directly receive and process low-frequency amplitude modulation radio transmissions in the range of 50 to 250 kilohertz. The REM64 module is installed in the module slot behind the left ear of Generation 5 replicas. To access the module functionality, open the inventory screen and press W to open the subsystem screen. Receiver module will show up on the far left. To switch the radio receiver on and off, press F. You can adjust the frequency with Q and E. When the receiver is on, the frequency indicators will light up red and the spectrogram bars will begin to move. When tuned to a station with a subcarrier signal, the signal label will ignite. When tuned to a station transmitting a data stream, the data label will ignite. Transmitted data will be displayed at the transcription field at the bottom. Interesting. Okay. Can I check the desk? No, I cannot. Thank you for self-care. I'm also very sorry for all the sniffles again. Can I read this note? Oh, that's not what I was looking at, but okay. To Radio Officer Young, Station 6. Dear Iris, I hope you and Ariana are both well. I've spoken to the officials at Aeon and they agreed that this would be best for Ariana to attend school in Sector C. Hold on a second. No, Alknira, you little weirdo. I'm not giving you my big snorts. I have a spare room she can stay in until she graduates. I know you two are inseparable, but we both know that this is best for your daughter if she receives a normal education and say, love, your sister Camilla. Door's locked from the other side. Okay. This is actually really fucking K4 ration. Something else, knives. Okay. So hold on. I want to try something now. And then, oh. Real quick, we saw frequencies. 55, 86. So we'll do 55 first. Oh. Okay, so 100 seems to just be visibility, like weather. This is weather. We're gonna tune this all the way down to 55 flat. Nothing? $55. Okay, we'll go to 86. Hmm. 118, 145. Okay. Wait, what is this? On X screen, how would you describe this model? What do you mean? 1K quotes today, damn. Oh shit. You know the game Multiverses? I do. Yes, I do. How it's being killed off later this year? I did not know that. They're adding Lola Bunny right before they kill it. How could they? That's hilarious. It's low poly. It's a low poly model. And then wait, I forgot what the other one was. Was it 186? Oh. A number station. And then it restarts. New Helldivers Warband just dropped. I heard about that. I've saw some people playing it. Yeah, then it restarts. It's the same thing. Would this be relevant or is this just an extra thing? What do you guys think? Oh, yeah, the explosive armor. Maybe the frequencies have something to do with when I'm looking at a certain thing. Interesting. Okay, let's turn that off really quick. So then, moon, sun, scales, rook, tree, sword. It doesn't look like I can see the moon or the sun. Rot Front Interplanetary Station 06. Okay. Oh. Gotta go back to 160. Very interesting mechanic. I like this. Instead of new IPs. That makes a little bit of sense for a fighting game. It's a little easier to add DC. Oh. Oh. Interesting. Can I get a snooze on the ad break, pretty please? Okay. Let's go do a save. God, whose idea was it to make the thing be like the little screech and the red screen? That's terrifying. That's terrifying. I don't like that. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it here just because of how like sniffly I am. Wait, did I just get an achievement? I just got an achievement while trying to close the game. What the fuck? Okay, interesting. Anyway, yoink. Hi. Hi, chat. Hi, chat. I'd say that was a success. I'd say that was a fun stream. I enjoyed my time. I just don't want to keep sniffling in y'all's ears. We'll definitely be back tomorrow. We may actually be back earlier than anticipated tomorrow. But let me close this thing really quick. Finish that up, and we can figure out who the hell we're gonna raid. I don't have any extra tabs open, so let me give y'all the music. I forgot the music. But we'll be playing out a lot more with this model as we go. I don't know if it's going to be an every stream thing, but I will definitely be using it again tomorrow. Oh, wait, does the Monster Hunter Wilds beta start tomorrow? I may see if I can preload that tonight, and we may be playing that tomorrow, guys. We may be playing that tomorrow. Let me see. What is Kai doing? Kai's doing Mibble Ribble. A lot of people are doing Monster Hunter World as like warm-ups and stuff. Pseudo Regalia. It's funny too. Now y'all can see me like lean over when I have to like look past my phone, my like tracking phone, because I'm like, hello? Hello? Redclaw's doing Monster Hunter? Really? Oh, yep, there he is. Oh, he's playing with Vivi. Maybe. Or I know a couple. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fucking salty. Fucking salty. All right. Smog is currently doing monster art, so we can raid Smog. We could raid Kai for playing Bibble Ribble. Or we have Salty, who is... Well, it says gnoming for initiative. I don't know exactly what she's doing. What happens if you spin around? Oh, here, we'll do it one more time. It's just, we can just turn around like, that's not it. Like this, just... Check out the jacket, chat. Check out the killer jacket. And my cool undercut. My damn cool undercut. Salty Jub, yeah, Salty Jub's a really cool artist. Salty Jub does a lot of art and stuff for tabletop games. Yeah, very cool jacket. Very cool jacket. Only the jacket. Only the jacket, chat, right? Only the jacket. Someone make that jacket. Faye's been working on it for quite a while. Faye's been working on it for quite a while. But... Oh, that's not it. That's not the right browser page. But we're gonna rate Salty. Oh, I put Salty. Salty. All right, Salty Jub. I have the entire place to myself this week, guys. This weekend, so we're gonna probably end up having a lot of random shenanigans and shit going on. The Jubster. Yeah, the Jubster. All right, what do we want to do for a raid message? Let's do one of the new emotes. What do we have? Snipe. Snipe. We're just gonna use the snipe, but the raid message is gonna be, can you move a little to the left? It's dumb, it's subtle, but I think it's hilarious. Therefore, we're doing it. That's gonna be the raid message. I will be back tomorrow, guys. The current plan is 4 p.m. CST. If you aren't already a part of it, I highly recommend joining the Discord. You can also check out the merch. It is still up above, but I'm still going to drop the merch thing. I really recommend checking them out. I am actually very excited to get my own super soon. Yes, any gun emote, if you don't have my snipe emote, works perfectly well. But... thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. And thank you for enjoying the show and my shenanigans. Until next time, though, guys, later. You should totally join the Discord. I've started doing movie